you. Why? Why when Morales and Sjogren were harassing me and fucking with me, even when I reported the unnecessary surgeries and all of that, unnecessary surgeries, Poe. When Sonny was in the operator suite filling in as overtime, he was already in charge. He was doing the training for that. But when they were calling in the stat surgical teams at night, he didn't know who to call. And I've got emails that I gave to Sjogren that showed from the nurse manager that showed the dates and times that these things happened, where veterans were left on the operating table for over an hour waiting for staff members to arrive that had never been called. And I've got one email from the nurse manager that forwarded from the surgeon on duty that one veteran, if he had requested from Sonny the radiologist on call be called in, and Sonny didn't know who to call. And instead of swallowing his pride and saying, I don't know, and asking somebody, he was trying to figure it out. Well, after a couple hours, the surgeon decided, I can't wait any longer, and opened this guy up and removed 3 feet of his intestine. In the email that I have, the surgeon on duty's opinion is that if the radiologist had been called to read his film, he would not have needed surgery. It could have been treated with a barium enema. And when I took that and the logs, that I took it all to Sjogren, and his response was, well, we know you're not a fan of the merge, but we'll look into it. I waited a week. I asked around. Nothing had been asked about. Okay.
This is the first time I'm hearing of this. So I don't know the answers.
Before you say it's the first time you've heard about it, let me finish. So I took it to Debbie Baily. You remember her?
Mm-hmm.
And Dave Archibald. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
They said, this is serious. You need to go to Clinker with this. So I went to Clinker with it. I gave her the documentation of the dates and times, the emails, all of that, and the log that Sonny had falsified. He went in and had deleted all the times that he couldn't find who he was supposed to call. All the other recalls that he did on those same nights, they were in there. But the ones that he screwed up on, he had deleted. But I've got the AOD reports for those nights that say a recall was requested, but it was delayed. Okay, so he didn't do anything to cover that up. And I told Clinker that. On the paperwork I gave her, I said, I expect the police service to retaliate against me because they've done it before. You guys charged me with moving a camera that had no policy or procedure for it. And tried to say that you guys backed it up 3 days and it was pointed towards my bike all 3 days. I pointed it that way every night to watch for, because the camera was worthless out in parking lot 1, and you know that. But I moved that camera around there to watch the walkway between the ER and building 1 for the officers walking psych patients over. But Janae and Arliss said that when you guys were doing your investigation of that veteran, that you backed the camera all the way up for 30 days. But it wouldn't fit in your narrative to say that, oh, you always put the camera there. That's how I knew to put my bike there, and it would be covered, because I always put it there. I didn't put my bike there and then find it with the camera. But Debbie Baily left me an answering machine message, because remember, I work midnights. She left me 2 actually, and I'm glad I kept them, because hopefully they'll do a story on it. One of them was she was stunned that Bo just came to my office and asked me. His only focus was on punishing you. He didn't ask one question about the delays, what was causing them, what could be done to fix them. His sole focus was making sure that she hadn't told me to print out the log and bring it to the director. Okay? The other one that I have from her is after I resigned, when you guys started harassing me again, she said that when she went in and told Director Klinker that the harassment that I had predicted had started and that I was resigning and walking my paperwork through, she said the only thing Director Klinker did, and Klinker had told me when she saw that on the paperwork I gave her when I met with her to tell her about the delays, she said, "Why do you think that?" And she assured me that if it happened, she'd put a stop to it. When Debbie Baily told her that I was walking my resignation paperwork through because you guys had fucking destroyed me, Debbie Baily said the only thing that Klinker said, she took her glasses off and said, "Well, I hate to lose a good employee," and then put her glasses back on and went back to work. And my question to you, Bo, is why didn't you stand up for us? I know you weren't part of the targeting, but to see that it's going on and not step up and say, "Hey, this isn't right." Stand up to Morales, stand up to Sjogren. I mean, not standing up for your guys is just as bad as doing it. No. I mean, do they have everybody out there that scared?
No. First of all, Steve, that incident is very vague in my mind, and there was a lot of things that were done I wasn't part of. Okay. So, and that investigation was directed. Because
I always thought that you and I were good, and I was hoping that you would step up. You would step up and call wrong. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just telling you. And this paperwork you're talking about, the logs you gave to whoever, I don't recall that. I don't recall it at all.
Well, Debbie Baily left a message on my answering machine saying you came up there and. Maybe it was at direction of Sjogren or Morales, but you came up there and asked her specifically, did you tell him to print those logs off and bring them to the director, or did he do that on his own?
Yeah, see, I don't recall that. It's been so long ago, Keith, and there's so much water under the bridge right now, and there's so much convolution going on with all this mess.
What?
It's all convoluted. It's been so long, the information's all garbled now. So,
I got the recording, so I mean...
You know, what you got. To be honest with you, I don't recall the little idiosyncrasies of this whole process.
But you know I was harassed. You know I was retaliated against because when Sjogren called me in and said that if I dropped my EEO case against George, that things could go back to the way they were. So I did. And you know what? The harassment and the retaliation stopped just as fast as it started.
Well, listen,
And then when I went to the director, it started again just as fast as it had before. So it wasn't me. It wasn't my performance. I mean, what would you characterize my performance at there as a dispatcher?
Keith, listen, we're in the middle of a official function here, and I need to leave. Okay, I can't discuss anything else with you at this point. Right.
Just give me the respect of telling me what you thought of me as a dispatcher when I was there.
Listen, I thought you were a good dispatcher, but despite everything else, what happened. I don't have any answers for you right now. Okay.
What was your opinion of me as a dispatcher?
I told you that. Because you were a good dispatcher. All right.
All right. Thanks.